So, when it comes to the UK, things are getting pretty bad. But in order to see just how bad things actually are, we're going to have a look at the worst articles that I've been able to find. Because we started the month off pretty strong. And you can see here that London could potentially get 30 more low traffic neighbourhoods. Because that's essentially Sadiq Khan just using your money to tell you what roads you can't travel down. Like just putting these wooden bollards up. And just essentially deleting streets that you've already paid taxes for. So like I said, we started the month off pretty strong. But it only gets worse from here. Because the Labour government have just announced that they're going to close RAF Scampton and MDP Wethersfield. These are the bases that they were going to house illegal migrants in. Now they're just closing them. So you would think that that's good news. However, you can see right there, it says that the new plan is to scatter the migrants around Britain. Like, that is absolutely awful. Just scatter them around the UK. So they're no longer restricted to just the cities. Now they're on their way to your village. And if you thought the police were going to step in and save the day, first of all, I don't know why you'd think that anymore. But second of all, the very next day we saw the head of the Metropolitan Police just snatch a microphone off a journalist and then just throw it on the floor. And a lot of people in the comments of that video were saying how this is quite literally an example of two-tier policing. Because he gets to commit criminal damage on camera, on live TV as well, and he just gets away with it. But if you were to do this, even without the cameras running, if you tried to snatch a microphone and then throw it on the floor, you would really start to see the two-tier police. And it's not just the present day where things are getting weird. You've also got to look at history as well. Because the very next day we saw that a Churchill portrait was to be given a warning label. Like, just putting a warning label on a painting. Honestly, how soft do people have to be? That is a Conservative council. Like, you'd half expect it coming from the weirdos at Labour. But to come from a council apparently on the right of politics, I gotta tell you, are we politically right now, are we politically homeless or what? But when we were driving back from the Churchill painting, we noticed an awful lot of potholes in the road, because it turns out that the Scottish government have requested £2.6 billion. And that is 2.6 billion quid just to fill potholes in Scotland. But that might seem like an absolute waste of money. But honestly, this is probably the cheapest that the government can do it for. Because there's even special machines that go out and fill potholes specifically. But no, I'm sure that's too simple for the Scottish government. They'd much rather spend almost £3 billion. But whilst they're spending that money on the roads, they're definitely not spending it on you. Because it turns out that the London Mayor Sadiq Khan is now claiming that he doesn't feel safe in London. So you might feel like London isn't your home anymore. And you might feel like the streets are unsafe. But apparently that's all irrelevant. Because Sadiq Khan in his armoured car with his armoured guards, the man who's been Mayor of London for 8 years, and had all the chance in the world to fix it, he now feels unsafe. Which, I mean, it just goes to show that he's not really doing a very good job. Because like I said, he's in charge, and he feels unsafe. What does that tell you? And you know that Keir Starmer's not going to go after the right people. Because he's already going after people on social media. Because it says that those allegedly stoking violence in the UK via social media could face jail. And we have seen quite a few people placed in prison just for a tweet or a status. Or something they said on a live stream. Like, genuinely, there's people in jail now just for using social media to spread their opinion. But what they really hate, and what they want to bring these laws in for, these arresting laws for social media users, they want to bring it in for articles like this. I'm sure they will eventually make it a crime. Because it says that wind turbines taller than skyscrapers are going to be placed across the British countryside. And obviously I could make the easy joke. And I could say that that's a pretty tall turban that they're wearing. But I'm not going to make that joke. Because it says that these turbines could stand 850 foot tall. Like, can you imagine all of them just placed across the countryside? 850 foot tall wind turbines. The amount of concrete that they're going to have to use under the ground, and the amount of metal just to make the actual object itself. Like, they claim that it's green, But it honestly seems like quite a lot of natural resources that they're using. But you know, they're the ones who wanted 850-foot turbines. But something else that nobody asked for was Premier League players taking the knee again. Because I thought we had finished this a couple of years ago, like when everything came out the woodwork with BLM, with all of the information that we've got. And these football players are still taking the knee. Honestly, it's almost as bad as seeing a wind turbine. But the very next day, straight after football players taking the knee, we saw another part of the UK essentially just admit defeat. Because you can see here where Tesco delivery drivers are now going to be forced to wear body cameras. And it's not every single location. Like, I get most of my shopping delivered, and 100% of the time everyone's pretty nice. But I'm guessing this is more for when they're driving in between the routes. Because believe it or not, there are people out there that would actually stop a Tesco van and just start nicking the shopping out the back. Like, it sounds absolutely ridiculous to you and me. Like, can you imagine that? But there are some people out there that actually do it. It's a bit of a lucky dip as well. You honestly don't know what you're going to get. But something that's not going to help the Tesco drivers escape are all of the 20-mile-an-hour zones that we've seen. Because it started off as just 1 or 2. Then it became 3 or 4. Now in Cambridgeshire, in one area in the UK, they're now getting another 40 roads. Like, there must be hundreds, if not thousands of roads in the UK now, that just force the people to drive at 20 mile an hour. And speaking of low numbers, the very next day we saw Keir Starmer's approval rating, which, honestly, it is absolutely awful. Because you can see that it says that more than half of people think that Britain is moving in the wrong direction. And I would have to completely agree. This country is getting stranger by the day. And Keir Starmer himself, his approval rating at the moment is 0. And it's come down from 7. So if it follows this trajectory, it's really not going to take him long to become the most hated politician. Especially not when we see headlines like this. Because it says that the state pension age could be raised to 71. Which, if Labour do that, that really is a slimy move to make. To ask people to work until the age of 71. It's just not viable to get people to do that. And it's definitely not reasonable to ask them to pay all of those taxes. Because if they're working till the age of 71, it means that they're going to pay more taxes into the system. At a time, like I said, when we're getting far less value for money than ever before. Because a great example of getting no value for money is the article that we saw the very next day after that. Because it says that almost 600 patients waited more than 2 days for A&E. And this is just Scotland as well. So, across the whole UK, I couldn't imagine how many people are waiting in A&E. But a 2-day wait, that is absolutely insane. Like, just sat in a waiting room for 48 hours. Meanwhile, we're paying more in taxes than ever before. Like, that is insane. But like I said, that was a very bad month for the UK. Like, when you see it laid out like that, it just goes to show just how strange things are getting. Just one after the other. And it just seems to get worse as well. And if you enjoyed this video, seeing information that you're not going to get anywhere else, with photos and videos that quite literally are almost impossible to find, if you enjoyed seeing all of that, I would highly recommend to subscribe. Because I'm out here every single day with videos just like this one. And you won't believe what I've got for tomorrow. But that's another story. And thank you for becoming one of the 47,849 subscribers.
This country has gone crazy.